Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Say my piece before I die. That's all this is. Oh my goodness. Oh, it's time to start already. It's kind of funny I started right on time. Man. I'll give people a few minutes. I don't need to go far. I just need water. I think my water is good. I'm not doing this for it. We're doing it off the pipe. This is a random one. Definitely. You know, just I don't want to get off track when I do it though, but you know, I've got something to say. Disney Plus sucks today. Oh my goodness. Any way I can put this over here? No. Yeah. I need to get comfortable again. Okay. Alright. Alright, let's get started then. Alright. Well, if you don't know, then I don't know how you don't know, since it's now everywhere, and how there's gonna be this huge backlash, and I hope there is, especially when it comes to Disney Plus. You know, how in the world did we get to this? It's always kind of funny for people who call other people Nazis by so flippantly and with such earnest. It's always kind of funny that the people who say no, that's are the real sort of the same spirit of Nazis. It's always amazing how there is zero self-awareness to when it comes to what they say and what they do. Because it goes to I don't want to mess up her name. I really don't. But we are going to look it up. So I don't want to mess up her name because that would be inappropriate. Oh, look at that! It's one of the first things that shows up. Okay. Gina Carneo, Gina Carnero. Yeah. That person. The person I'm showing now. Sorry, the name escapes me for now. But you know, Gina got fired from Disney Plus. If you didn't know, and they're like, "Oh, why does that matter? Why do you bring up the Nazi comparisons? Why do you do all? Why'd you get the setup? Why'd you make sure you want to learn her name?" Because Gina got fired from The Mandalorian for really speaking out against cancel culture. She refused to bend the knee to Disney, pretty much. And, well, that's a bit mischaracteristic, I guess, but she's definitely one of the people to be against that sort of thing, especially when it comes to social media. It was because why she got fired. Because she decided that this was a good thing to say, that when you use cancel culture against people you just don't like politically, that's a bad thing. You should treat your neighbor good, you know. And we'll get to that in a moment, because I think Ben Shapiro did a fantastic job of explaining it. So I'm gonna probably make the same points that he did, But you should go see his video about Gina. It's fantastic. It was on his Ben Shapiro show thing. Even if you don't like him, he wow, it's amazing what he did. So we're gonna go through the first thing she probably did was to you know um, the one I remember is the one where she spoke out against like hey her tweet was pretty much like we need to make sure we can count votes and say like we need to make sure because people forget this a lot that there's been um, not just evidence but speak of voter fraud from the past. Oh, I mean, if you look through history, there were politicians out there who wanted people to go to violence because they thought they lost their election unfairly, and I mean like called people to do it, not just how Donald Trump did, which was like he wanted people to be there to support him, not to violently crash the Capitol, you know, because there's nuance, and but there are people in that people vote in who want to strip away the other person's power, and they mobilize their base, their voter base to go and make sure they don't have no peace. Now this has happened, all around the world in the United States. This has happened, but because of their political affiliation, nothing ever happens to them. It does happen all the time, and but that's too like I said, nuance for anyone to ever go deep into because politicians want you to forget that uh, that things happened in the past that they have said, and they mobilize their base to do when it comes to cancel culture. These corporations, people call it the Iron Triangle, which is the media and the Democrats share the same views, so they use them to tell the corporations to go after certain people. Like, just turn on ABC, NBC News, and you can see that in real time. Like, it is amazing what I hear from these talking heads. They're pretty much political actors. They pretend to be bipartisan. Sometimes they'll call out their own voter bit, but that's because like they were done with them. They are a sword that has rusted and they are no longer of use, or that they want to appear bipartisan. It's either one of two things. You know, um, so they nod their head and say, "We are your Lord and Master, so we're gonna do what you say." Like, if we don't, we lose our government money. So that's what the news does, and they pressure corporations to do this. And so, go back to the tweet of, she said, just just make sure you have the right votes. That's all she said pretty much. Make sure every vote is legal, recount it legally, do everything through the processes. That's what Gina said on social media. And they said like, we're gonna, what Disney Plus said, we're gonna take away your ability to have a show because you said there was voter fraud. And Disney said themselves they were looking for an excuse to fire her. And like that, I'm so disappointed in the human race, I guess, because that is amazingly stupid. She didn't even admit. I don't believe in the tweet she said anything that voter fraud is real. Because here's the thing, it actually is real. Like, voter fraud is a very real thing. It happens everywhere. It happens every year, believe it or not, because when you mail in ballots, it's more likely that some of them are going to get lost, that some of them are going to be just counted. They were going to count this for this candidate anyway, so let's just go ahead and count it for them. It happens every 4 years. It happens every time a senator is elected. There are signs of voter fraud. Like it's not just this year. It's not a special occasion, like everyone would have you to believe. It's no. It You have to be, I don't know, ignorant and blissfully ignorant. It's that's the way I would put it. I'm not putting that nicely. Harshly, I would say only an idiot would believe that there's no such thing as voter fraud. Like, really? So, well, anyways, we're going on to Gina's final straw. She put a picture of and she said something on Instagram saying that, like, when you allow, it's when it comes to how they got Jews in concentration camps. It's because the German government, which was the in charge, said, like, if you find anyone suspecting to be a Jew or a Jew, they're the bad guys. They're the people that you should find abhorrent. You should call them out. If And so they did, and they chased them out of town, and so they rounded them up. The public, not the Germans, your next door neighbor, was watching you every second. You were watching each other, being paranoid, and that's how they made it so divisive. Because why wouldn't you believe your governing structure? And without the Constitution, they didn't have the freedom of speech or freedom of assembly. So what were you supposed to do? The government is you're relying on the government, essentially, and that's what happened. When it's just the government and not the people. It takes both the government and the people. You can't just say the people should be in charge, because you get a mass mob of voting instead of the checks and balances, which should be happening, but the checks and balances have been screwed over so much it doesn't really do anything anymore. Because all you have to do is pack a certain side with your people, and you just win everything. It's no longer bipartisan. And that's kind of the point of the system, is so everything gets crammed up so nothing really gets through. And it takes time and effort to get certain laws through so people can think them over. It's never a myth about how everything should be went through that I think is good. That's not how the system should work. Because there's no hindsight in that sort of thing to do. But whatever. There are gray areas to that too. It's not always good. It's not always bad. But it's just like every other system. It has its flaws. But we had a good thing going. We really did. And so she compared it to cancel culture, pretty much comparing cancel culture to people weeding out the opposition. Your next door neighbor, pretty much digital next door neighbor, could be looking at your social media post and saying, "Hey, this person is a supporter of this political party. I think they should be fired." And they pretty much want you dead digitally. Like, they don't want you on, they want you out of there. Because you're not one of us. You think differently than I do. No self-awareness, no nuance. And then she compared those, she really did sort of compare those people to not Nazis at all. Because they're not Nazis. They're just people that are driven by in a way of ignorance, to tell on their to tell on their neighbors, because it was the governing body at the time, and they made them hate Jews, just like how the media right now wants you to hate Republicans, conservatives, Trump supporters, and they lump them all together so you can say it's just an enormous blob of hate and bigotry and racism. You know, even though that like the inconvenient truth is that a lot of minorities did vote for Trump. You know, it's one of those things. You know, and oh boy, so they didn't. So Disney didn't like how that because it was a Isra- Israeli type of. It was anti Jewish. They said it was actually the opposite. It was actually in defense of Jews at the time because yeah. So they're looking for an excuse, and that was the excuse, and it's really weak for firing her. Really weak. That's so weak. And this is why it's concerning. This is why I made this video. It's really concerning. If that all it takes to get someone fired from a major corporation is that you shared your opinion on social media. And here's the thing though. There are some times when on social media you should be fired from your job. Absolutely. If you don't remember, there was a woman who wrote for Guild Wars 2, and she got fired thanks to a social media post. But she pretty much said that she pretty much said to one of the biggest fans, and this fan had she has her he has her um, let me start over. This fan has his own character as an NPC in the Guild Wars 2. Like he's that important. And he was talking to this woman, and she said, "Wow, pretty much calling him a sexist." Um, and then and like you don't like I'm being mansplained to was her because it was about NPC dialogue. It was pretty much like what about this narrative? What about that narrative? Maybe you should do this instead. You know, it was pretty much what, and he did it, and he said those things, and she responded with like, "Don't tell me how to do my job." And then the one after that is like, "The next man who tells me about narrative is getting blocked." And it said like, and also the same woman who said um, like the best thing I can say about Total Biscuit is that we no longer have to listen to him when he died. Like these people exist. And yeah, you should be fired. You should be fired for that because you're talking to a customer on social media. When you're online, you're wearing the digital uniform of your company. You know, you don't do that. But Gina did nothing like that. If you actually see the post that she did, you're like, how's this bad? She's defending Jews against Nazis. Like, this is you are a stupid person. And yeah, people are canceling their Disney Plus like crazy. And yeah, but let's not forget that let's bring it all back to a place that's actually like Nazi Germany, with concentration camps and everything. Let's bring it to the real world comparison for right now. So uh, there's a so China does not like any religion except its own. In fact, I think they believe they call themselves they are the religion because they are the government. They are the emperors. They are the dictators. They don't like people having an opinion other than the one that they have sanctioned for you. In fact, a little while ago, they allowed you to have children again. Yeah, isn't China great? And well, you see, when Disney made Mulan, the new version, not the good one, they the live action poop party that Disney Plus said, "Hey, you can have $30 to see it online." The heck is wrong with you? Why would you see that? But anyways, especially after Lion King, like, what are you doing with your life? You're gonna watch a live action Lion King, which doesn't make any sense anyways, since there's no people in it. But whatever. The sorry, I take a drink. Let's take a mental break. Mm. All right, water time is over. So when they filmed the in the location of where there was a literal concentration camp in China, and Disney Plus thanked them for doing that. They thank them for we get to use this location. Thank you very much. You're like, what do you mean by concentration camp? Well, if you don't know, they don't like Muslims in their country. They don't like Christians in their country either, because in fact, quick note: whenever a missionary goes over to China, you can't say they're going to China. You can't say it because if you do, they won't allow you in the country because they know what you're after. You have to say Southeast Asia because they say like, hey, Southeast Asia could mean Soviet Union or something. You know, it could mean Japan maybe. You know, it could mean other things. But you, yeah. So they, yeah. So and so they go around and in fact, they don't like of religious people so much. They drag people from their homes who is practicing a religion that's not sanctioned by the government, and this includes Muslims, and so they put them in concentration camps, and they made sure that um, they would take the women and make sure they can't have children. Yeah, I know this is disturbing. Like I know, but it has to be said because so one of the lands they use for Mulan is the place where they did this. What a you are something else, Disney. It's always kind of funny that like it reminds me of the NBA when they said that like we are pro Black Lives Matter, slavery is bad, and then they go to and then they'll don't say anything bad about China. In fact, you're not allowed to say anything bad about China in the NBA. You can't do it, even though they are the very thing they say America has something wrong with America, which is not even close. Like no matter what, like this is why they're booed by all kinds of people. And good on them, you know? It's kind of funny. These people in China, they want their freedom like we have. Because they don't have it. And then they have these people over here who want to have that and think it's good that this is happening to people like me. It's terrible. Uh, no self awareness at all, and I don't think they would. I don't. They see that's which is kind of funny because, believe it or not, there actually is a lot of conservatives in Hollywood. You just can't say it. They have to spout out far leftist jargon just to keep their jobs. If you ever like, I mentioned Ben Shapiro before, but a lot of people like him in Hollywood because he used to live in California, not now, because California's a crap hole. But but you know, not all of it, not all of it. Not everyone from there is bad. Hi, Katie. But you know, it's like you couldn't take a picture with him. And it said, can we take a picture with you? It's like, if you take a, and they warned them, it's like, if you take a picture with me, do not share it with anybody. Because if they find that out, they will fire you on the spot. And that was, I don't know, 8 years ago? Things are getting worse. for sensible people. And here's the thing, like, people on the left, right, and center hate cancel culture. But when it comes to online, the social media, traditional media, and really the Democratic Party and the politicians, like, I hate saying that. Because just because you're a Democrat doesn't mean you're a bad person. Not at all. We just have different values. And we can talk about them. We can come to a consensus about some things. We can actually disagree and still be buds, friends, acquaintances. You know, believe it or not, like, the people on EFAP are people I'd probably hate in like hate in certain circles, but they're still able to have. I would still able to have a conversation with them. It's like, for example, one of my favorite creators is a furry atheist um, uh, guy, but he's also very smart, conservative, has good arguments, and he's this weird guy when it comes to his when it comes to the way he is, but his personality shines through that, and he speaks a moral gray line that I can actually uh, agree with on the most part. A gray line, I don't know what that is. In the gray. But yeah, I don't think it's going to last much longer because this is all about Gina and how she was improperly fired. And usually I don't say this, okay? Here's the thing: if you watch something that I don't not like or even hate, I don't care. Like, for example, Picard. I could. How could you treat Picard that way? How? You made him into this vehicle for your social justice bullcrap, and you expect people just to. And I've met like two people that like that show, and I'm like, why? They've ruined Star Trek. ABC ruined Star Trek. Absolutely, without a doubt. And they did the same thing with Star Wars. That's the thing. Oh, here's another thing I want to bring up. Disney hates you, by the way. Disney hates your guts. Whenever it comes to convenience of who to blame, they blame you. They blame the fans because you're the toxic brood. You have no clue what you're talking about, but us, we know what the people want. Which is funny because I think Disney Plus is going to go out there in the toilet, and I hope it does. Hope it burns. Good riddance to bad rubbish. All these shows, these progressive bullcrap shows, and they think people would eat them up because that's what the social media says they want. No, no, no. They don't want it. And people are sick and tired of you crapping on your own country that you get so much money from. And why should they care anyways about what America thinks when they get all their money from China? Like, why? Why should they care? Because they can go get their money from somewhere else. It's so it's kind of funny because that means a defeatist attitude from us. And that shouldn't be. You shouldn't be like, well, if they're gonna get money somewhere else, then what's the point of canceling? Because one day something will change. They'll have competition. Because, you see, Joker made a lot of money. If you don't know. And it made it domestically. Just like just like the Daily Wire movie. Go see that. Live, Hide, and Die. Go see that. Download it right now. Go see it. I hear it's good. I hear it's not great, but it's good. Go to. Did you mention Ben Shapiro off the Daily Wire movie? I've heard it's good from all sources. Really, I've heard it's good. So yeah. Well, thank you, Ed. Thank you. Um, we need to support independent media now more than ever. These AAA companies, AAA game companies, these corporations that think they can just we're the only they want to be the only game in town. They want a monopoly, which that's not how it should be. It's kind of funny because people think that capitalism is just a corporation being the one corporation you get stuff from. No, 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 no. That's not what capitalism means. Capitalism is the of the of is actually at the spirit of competition. You make a product, they want it. You know, um, and that breeds competition. What you're talking about is corporatization and greed. It's not the same thing as capitalism. Sorry, you, that's not how that works. So, man, I don't know what else to do because man, it just ticks me off so much that that people act like this. It's crazy. You know, I used to try to toe the line, but if I ever went back to Twitter, it would be the crap post all the time on people. I wouldn't go back to be nice. Being nice, I'm sorry, but we've been nice for a little too long. Because even in. It's kind of funny, people will say Jesus was a peaceful man. Not all the time. I mean, did you know that when he found out that people were doing taxes in his father's house, which is by the way the temple, you know, they were selling goods and taxes. There were taxes and trying to get greedy off the temple. You know, I'm not exactly. I should probably know this, but the whole point is that they were doing something wrong, and Jesus went in there and literally flipped tables and ran them out by himself and said, "You don't do this here." You see, even the most peaceful people need to have some wrath, righteous wrath, and do it when it's appropriate. I'm not telling you to go out there and flip tables or anything like that. Don't be dumb. Don't be stupid. I never said that. What I am saying though is when when people push against you, you have to push back some. You can't let yourself just be walked on when it comes to your political views and all that stuff. Fight justly. Do not match intensity, you know, but never stoop to their level. Don't go out and try to cancel somebody. Don't try to, um, to make anyone's lives any worse. Because I don't want anyone to get fired for their views. People should be fired because they did something wrong. I mean, actual wrong. Don't bait people. I'm not saying don't debate because debate is actually what we need to do. Debate, like you need to go out there and critical thinking. Violence doesn't solve this issue. Use your heads. Critical thinking. You, mm, it's it does bring my blood to a boiling point. Really, it does. And it's really really sad when it comes to this. A corporation said that a post fighting against uh, Nazis is a fireable offense because you mentioned Jews. You're setting a horrible precedent when you do something like that. And it goes against the spirit of free speech, too. Here's the thing, if I was more important on this platform, I'd be out of here right now. It would be gone. Like, just because I'm talking about this. And I think the message of the stream rings loud and clear. Disney can't, it's cancer. And you should, and That's kind of I said you shouldn't go out and cancel people. You can stop watching, stop spending money. Vote with your wallet. Get rid of Disney Plus. Do it right now, and spend that money somewhere else with content creators that you like and you know will not betray your trust in the future. Because I've done that a few times. You need to better make 100% sure that this is where you want to spend your money. Hmm. Well, I think that's gonna be it. So, I think that's it. Yeah. I don't know what else to say. Because this was a random thing just to put out there. And, so I'm going to, I'm probably going to shut off the stream, but I'm still going to type. Because I got some grievances of my own that I can't say. that I don't want to say on stream. So, if you want to be part of that, it'll be. I think I'll just go to the Discord and if my grievances there, you know, whatever. And nobody else is doing those stuff. All right. See you guys later, and there are more people like me out there than you think there are. It's not hopeless. It's never hopeless. It's you can't just give up on society because believe it or not, it's actually real life society that has we've become the resistance now that they wish to that they thought they were overthrowing, because that's what happens when you use malicious tactics to get what you want, and now they've gotten what they wanted. You've won. You are now winning the culture war. Congratulations. Now you're no longer the underdogs. When you play victim, people stop caring. People don't care about your victim status anymore. People know you're lying. And when people get and people are now getting on their little bubbles and going out into the world and saying like, hey, maybe it's not okay that we, silence this person. Hey, maybe it's not cool to kick off somebody for arbitrary reasons without context. Maybe it's not okay to kick off politicians. Hey, maybe it's not okay to kick off the President of the United States. Hey, maybe it's not okay to get rid of these platforms from your major tech companies. People are beginning to whittle down, and more you're pushing them away with you're making it so black and white that people are wondering why you did it, and you give an answer like, well, he did these things, and I'm like, and then you give him no chance to defend himself. So now we have one side of the aisle, and one day you're not going to make sense. Because it's just one side of the aisle that's doing this. And if this was Republicans do this to the left, I would be like, hey, I don't wish to do this, because here's the thing, like, I remember when there was a bunch of Christian picket sign people at a military graveyard because he was gay, and they were like, he was gay, he's going, like, he's in hell, and stuff like that. And I'm like, and as one myself, I'm like, that's not us. I denounced that right away. Where is the denouncement of people in government, from the left side of the aisle saying this is a bad thing to do? Where is that? Where is the consensus of